All right, Sistas fans, we are here to talk about last night's episode, Season 4, Episode 19, Benefit of the Doubt. Let me put it this way. This was an episode of Zatima with sister stuff scattered throughout. I mean, this was literally the Zatima content we all wanted. I got to give props to Tyler Perry because, as I mentioned in my video going over the Zatima sneak peek photos, of Zach and Fatima in the new place and like in the kitchen and whatnot. And in that video, I'm like, I want to get excited, but then I remembered, there have been times in the past where, like TV Line or even BET, different social media outlets and, bloggers, they would post this stuff promoting like Zatima stuff in an upcoming episode of Sistas, even in the promos themselves. Then when the episode comes out, like those scenes are cut and not in that specific episode. But I said that, I think what will make the Zatima stuff stick out is the fact that we haven't seen these two together outside of jail since the first episode of Season 4B back on June 1st when, Fatima came back from tearing up Hayden's property. And then after that, she got arrested by the end of that same episode. But yeah, this episode, if I were judging it strictly on the Zatima stuff alone, and that doesn't mean every scene they were, that doesn't just mean the scenes they were in together, but I mean like when Andy was on the phone with Fatima, when Zach was talking to Jake, and then Zach talking to Tony. If I were rating the episode off that alone, 10 out of 10. But truth be told, even though the show is called Sistas, it felt like the sister stuff was getting in the way of the Zach and Fatima stuff. Like, I love the stuff with Hayden and Andy in Andy's office, because Andy, I felt like she was channeling some Sasha from Family Business. I felt like KJ was, projecting some of that energy into Andy, because the way she was kind of hunched over her desk like she wasn't backing down, I'm like, Hayden, man, you better back up. It looks like she's about to reach into her desk and pull out a gun or something. But no, later on in the episode, when she shows up at Danny's, which, mind you, I actually liked Andy going over there, because we haven't seen, I love how Danny is like, self-aware of, you haven't come over here in quite some time. It was Season 1. It's kind of like earlier in the season when she called out Andy about, me and you haven't had, like a one-on-one, girl time. When was the last time we did that? Because you want real advice. I will say the episode, I love the fact that we had different sister combinations here. We had Sabrina and Karen together for the first time in quite a while. And I like the fact that Pam was in the scene, but she didn't intrude in the conversation. Pam could have easily spoke for the audience if she would have inserted herself into the conversation about Zach, but she didn't do it. And despite the Zach stuff really being a downer on the scene, I loved seeing Sabrina and Karen together, just like I love seeing Andy and Danny together. It's just the subjects of which they were talking about I didn't care for. That's the sad part. The Maurice stuff, everybody and their mom was busting out. My nephew was crying, laughing. Personally, I didn't really care for it. The whole dancing crap he was doing as the scene closed, that was funny, but like him bending over and all in front of Preston, that to me was too much. And this episode, aside from like the Zatima stuff, it really wasn't a lot going on. So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Like it was so close to be, and it's just hard for me to say, but this episode was going to be great. But sadly, the sister stuff is what brought it down. So let's get into it. But before moving forward, go ahead and take a moment. Hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon and select all. Because remember, we're closing in on the sister season finale. And I want to make sure you're up to date when I post content. So again, hit the bell icon next to subscribe and select all. That way you are notified when I post stuff on the channel. Now Jake is waiting outside as Zach and Fatima pull up. Remember, they are driving, well, Zach is driving Fatima's car. So they pull up And if I remember correctly, Zach's car is probably still at the law firm because he drove it there before he got arrested. So keep that in mind. And then in the next episode, we will see the car back. So yeah. But in any case, Jake is outside as they pull up, and she steps aside so they can have a conversation because Jake is like, oh wow, okay, you all are doing your thing, so I'll just come back tomorrow. But he just wanted to tell Zach that, hey, the contractor was here and I paid him off for you, and I didn't want him talking crap about you, so I'll come back tomorrow to pick up the check. And look, just to give you a heads up, I don't want to, like I always say, I don't want to make it seem like I'm half-assing the review, but I'm kind of speeding through it because a lot of this stuff was just talking, just putting that out there. So yeah, Jake bounces, says he'll come back tomorrow. Zach tells Zatima, Jake is a good dude. She's still semi-skeptical of him. So he walks her into their new place to surprise her. And like I tweeted out, like, folks, like, when I want to say when I finally get approved for a house or a mortgage loan or whatever, that level of excitement, I can't wait to feel that. So, he gives her like a mini tour, just standing in the living room of everything, like, the kitchen, the couch and whatnot. And I even got this little desk area for you so you can study for your law exam. And she is nervous about moving too fast because of the fact that he does bring up the fact they need to move in. I mean, hey, I want you to move in. And Fatima asks to sit down. And here's the thing, because Zach actually said what I said a couple days ago, because on Twitter I posted it. Remember, what was it, on Monday or something? I posted a video about Fatima being hesitant to move in. And I said that I get it because she's independent and self-made. So to give all that up to move in with Zach is a much bigger step for her than it is for him. He just got money. He's just now in a position to take care of a woman. But she obviously is hesitant to move forward in that. And then I had a conversation with somebody online the next day, and they were like, Jeremy, I think it's ridiculous because Fatima went to jail for Zach. She is willing to kill for Zach. She was willing to break him out and they go on the run, but moving in is too big of a step. And I tweeted that, and people were like semi-dragging me on Twitter for it. It's like, Jeremy, you just don't get it. She's an independent woman and she's going to give all that up just to randomly move in with Zach. That doesn't make sense. And yeah, it's like usually you're hit and miss on your analysis, and this time was a miss. But then Zach said the exact same shit that I said about, let's backtrack. So you're hesitant to move in with me, but you went to jail for me. You had Hayden beaten up for me. You said that you would bust me out of jail and we go on the run, but moving in is too big of a step. This is just like when I said Zach and Fatima deserve to be in jail for everything they did, and I got a lot of flack for months about that. And then Andy said the exact same shit when she was in the jail with Zach and Fatima, just to kind of give them some hard facts about how they've been acting. But in any case, she says, I'll move in, but I'll keep my place. And Zach doesn't want her to do that. Now, that part I find stupid. Because of the fact that, look, I want these two to win. They are getting their own spinoff, so it seems quite obvious that she will move in. But I don't think that's a bad idea. You could either keep the place for yourself. Fatima could either rent it out or something. But I don't think that it's smart for her just to give up everything this fast. I mean, like she said when Zach was in jail, you talking about moving in, I don't see a ring on his finger. And Zach did say, don't make me get down on one knee. And I was like, Lord, if he goes from a key to a proposal, that actually mirrors Bill on Bruh. Remember when Regina was asked to move in? Then they had sex, and then right after that, the fool pulled out a ring, and now they're married. Zach was about to do the same thing. But the thing about it is, it's funny because, Zach, I'll move in, but here's the thing. If you F up, look, I know I see you're gonna F me up. I don't want to be naked, beating on the front of the hood of my car. So, there's that. I do feel like it is unwise because I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of like a Zach back during my simping days. Like, when I first got self-employed and whatnot, I was willing, like when there was a girl I wanted to hang out with, was like, look, hey, I'll clear my schedule. I'll do this and that. Or, if you want to come by, watch TV or whatever, I'll get some food and whatnot. It's one of those things. I saw this great meme. I know KJ and a few other people posted it. And let me find it real quick because I think it really defines how I used to be. once I start rubbing on your face and looking at you, just know I'm in love and you done going outside. That's pretty much it. I know that sounds weird, but yeah, it's like, I just want to take care of them. I think in Nick Cannon, like a couple years ago on Vlad TV, when he first said, like, hey, if you with me, or if you're like the mother of my child or whatever, or one of his children, you don't have to work. If you're with me, you with me. You ain't got to work. You ain't got to do nothing. I'll take care of you. And it's kind of like that. I think because he's able to provide, I don't think it's being overly masculine, but you could argue that it's somewhat overcompensating because he's never been able to provide for a woman. And then all the women in his life have always talked down to him about how he ain't this, how he's always, needing a woman to help him. And I feel like he's kind of projecting all of that into Fatima, not in a negative way, but in the fact that, hey, all these women who took care of me, all these women who talked trash about me, about not being able to provide, now I'm going to kind of show them by showing you all this love and whatnot. But I feel like Fatima is sacrificing more than Zach due to the fact, again, she has to give up her place. She has to give up her independence. As she said, what if we get tired of each other? That's the same issue that Danny, and I'm not going to say Danny and Preston, that's the same issue Danny began to have after Preston was living with her, if you remember, she was the one that told him to move in after he said, no, I'll just get a hotel or something. So basically, she agrees to come in. So we go over to the work. Hayden confronts Andy about the fact that I know you and Robin, work together to get Fatima and Zach out of jail, and I'd love to get them, arrested again. And it's a good back and forth. And Hayden's like, well, she's not working here. I got a restraining order. You don't think Fatima won't get a lawyer to file a claim of bullying? So basically, Fatima ain't going nowhere, and get your ass out of my office. So basically, she tells him off, and I just love this scene. Keep in mind, I'm going to lose that respect for Andy later on in the episode, but here we go. Okay, this was a scene that I felt was completely unnecessary. I like Preston. You all know I like Preston, but he needs to just look elsewhere. And yeah, even if he does start to look around and date other people, Danny's going to have some shit to say about it, which I don't care. This was unneeded. Preston comes to the bank to talk with Sabrina one-on-one about the whole Danny situation, and at the core of it, Sabrina just says, hey, the stuff you're telling to me, just talk to Danny about it. And then Maurice was doing too much. And I feel like this was something that was spoken in season 1, that when Sabrina lets Maurice know that somebody's straight, ooh, my kind of man, and all this and that. I get it, he's joking and whatnot, but as a straight person, I wouldn't like that. Especially if a gay person know I was straight and they tried to do that stuff to me, I would not appreciate it. I know somebody either tweeted or commented during the live stream about it that, Maurice is lucky Preston isn't a customer, or he can like file harassment or something. To be completely honest, despite him just walking into the bank like that and talking with Sabrina, I'm pretty sure he could file a complaint if he wanted to, Then after that, also, I got to give praise to the episode. Even though I wasn't too fond of Maurice's behavior, at least we had no Calvin and Q. Alright, so after this, we have calling Karen for her Karen special at the hair salon because she has a date tonight. Then she calls Danny about the Preston situation. And, Danny's like, oh, he's still doing that. It's his own fault for taking bad advice, blah, 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 blah. I don't really care. She mentions that she's going to the Olive for a date tonight with Logan and, Bio. And Sabrina is like, yeah, that's your favorite place. And Danny's like, yeah, I'm going on a date there as well with the cop. And they decide to make it a double date. I don't think that was a good idea. Based on the promo, we know that's not a good idea. But I don't know. I don't, as a guy, imagine if I finally work up the nerve to ask a girl out and then out of nowhere it's a double date. I don't think I'd appreciate that, because especially if it's one-on-one. Now, part of me was like, that's rude, but then I thought, well, hell, look at how Bio first introduced himself to Sabrina, intruding on her date with Calvin. So that there was that, but it is what it is. Okay, so all of a sudden it's nighttime and Fatima's cooking up some Alfredo, and she's learning about Zach's plan to make more money by renting out the other half of the house. And, apparently he's made over $2 million on the stock, which is up 30%. And she asks why he trusts Jake. and she's thinking about she's suggesting that he sells the stock, which we know Jake is also saying this is what you need to do in order to get the FCC off your back. Now Fatima's about to go home because look, I gotta go work in the morning. I ain't trying to wake up super early to run home to get ready and then go to work, and then they bring up the conversation of a whole bag. And I'm like, that's me. And I hate it when I'm like that. I don't want somebody to leave. So no, you stay in. Come on. Let's come on, just stay. But she's like, look, how about this? I'll go back to my place. I'll grab some stuff and then I'll come back. So Zach gets his phone out. He calls Jake and he says, look, I know that you said you come by tomorrow, but if you're able to swing by right now, I can give you the check. And he's like, yeah, I'm just hanging with my girl, but I'll come by real quick. And Zach gets on the phone, yeah, because the last thing I need is another person saying I owe them. And trust and believe, I can understand where Zach is coming from. Now, and again, I want to go by this really quick. So Danny's getting ready for a date. Andy comes by, and Danny talks about how, why'd you come? You haven't come here in forever. And Andy asks if the date is with Preston, and it's like, oh no, it's the undercover cop pimp or whatever from the airport. And Danny brings up the whole thing about Preston, and look, I kind of like with the Karen stuff, I'm just like tapped out. I honestly have nothing to say about Danny and her behavior about Preston that I haven't said before, but it seems like she's definitely giving the vibe of that he's a racist just based off who he's related to, and I think that's pretty fucked up. And Andy actually vouches for him, but Danny, I will say that at least he's trying to learn, and I will leave it at that. I am not touching it. But then she's over there about hey, I'm thinking about calling Gary, and I'm thinking and I've had people tweet me about this. Because I commented, I'm like, it seems that the only reason that Andy is wanting to talk to Gary, because what did she say? I had a good time with Robin, but then on the way over here in the Rolls Royce, I thought about Gary and I thought about calling him. Didn't you tell Gary that Robin would be here for like a week and you're going to let him stay in the penthouse, and this will be a way to see if you've really changed? And it's only been one night that Robin stayed, and now you want to just check on Gary to see if he's changed. And obviously no, but still, it's just stupid. So she leaves to go call Gary. All right, we go over to the salon. Sabrina walks in, and apparently they had a good day. Pam tells Karen that they had a good amount of money come in. So, and again, remember, this is all because of Pam, because remember, Pam was the one that, called the health department or whatever on, what's his name, Isaiah, the former employee who opened his own salon and got him shut down to bring back customers. So again, Pam is the reason that Karen's still in business. So, Sabrina's asking questions, to check on her friend, because obviously Pretty, so, I like your outfit and your shoes. Like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm a little tired, on your feet all, most of the day and whatnot. So, cute conversation. And like I said, I love this scene until we got to the Zach shit. But then at the very end, it was cute. All right. So Karen's kind of giving that big sister advice, about, okay, have a good time on this date. Don't bring up Calvin or anything like that. And from there, we have Sabrina asking, Karen, how are you really feeling with everything going on? And to be honest, I think Danny's right. And then I'm thinking, you don't have to have everything figured out right now. And all I could think about is, it's funny because wasn't it earlier that same day you were up there with Andy trying to shut up Danny about not saying anything, even though she was telling the truth? And as a result, now all of a sudden Danny's right. And Karen's like, she's like, oh, are you do you have a date with Aaron tonight or something? Yeah, I'm supposed to see him. Oh, what's that supposed to mean? Well, look, I do feel like I'm using him and whatnot, and yeah, well, Zach has moved on. Look, I know him. He sleeps around. Once he gets tired of it, he comes back, and we had 3 years. At this point, it's not sad. It's not funny, even though I still make memes about it because it is funny to make that kind of stuff. But I'm just sitting here like, Ebony, she's working the hell out of the content she's given, because obviously fans have a strong emotional reaction to Karen, but she deserves better than this. This is just pathetic. It really is. But the thing that got me is how she says, you know what, I'm not going to make a fool out of myself over this anymore. And then you see the preview for next week and we know exactly what happens. But that's, about it. All right, so from there, Gary is pissed off about the whole Andy situation. Aaron is pretty much speaking for the audience. Look, you bought her that stuff. She's free to have whoever she wants over there. And this is just crazy. It's like, I did all this for us. And he's like, look, Gary, you're drinking. You need to calm your butt down. Look, this is just crazy. This is ridiculous. And it's interesting how he goes from like 1,000 to 0 once the phone rings. It's her. It's her. Hey, look, take a deep breath. Calm down. Keep that kumbaya shit to yourself. And then he gets the phone. Hello? And then Andy's like, hi, how are you? Let's meet up at this incredible penthouse you bought me. So then he gets off the phone and he went from like, go to hell, Aaron, to, yeah, so she wants to meet at the penthouse. Aaron is doing what he can, but if he was really, he needs to go from spiritual life coach to, excuse the phrase, a real nigga, and sit Gary's ass down and go, look, you've been drinking too much. Remember the last time you were over at Andy's place and you were a little tipsy and emotional? You bruised her damn ribs. You left her there and then you got into a car accident. You need to calm your ass down because you're not going over there. So you need to call her back. And I'm just thinking to myself, based on what happens later in the episode, so let me just go ahead and skip ahead to this. And look, one thing, Cheeto, the man knows how to rock a suit. I remember back in my call center days, sometimes I'd roll up like Steve Harvey wearing a different suit every day. I miss those days. Not the job, but dressing up or having a reason to. And he goes over there. Lord have mercy. And he comes in, and this dude is looking okay. So they were sitting over here. I'm going to sit over here, okay. And as Andy's trying to have a conversation, this fool Gary is twitching like Smokey was on Friday due to that angel dust. I gotta give props to Tyler Perry. I'm always talking about flashbacks and whatnot, and kind of like in the Oval where we saw Priscilla shooting Victoria and whatnot. I love moments where we get a glimpse into the mind and what a character is thinking. I love that stuff. And I was a bit nervous. I'm like, Lord, is he going to hit Andy? Is he about to explode? Thankfully, he has like a breakdown and he decides to make a run for it. And then Andy's like, wait, where are you going? But yeah, it just shows the level. Okay, I want to talk shit about Gary, but let's be honest here. How many of us have pulled a Gary or even a Karen and you semi-obsess over someone? Maybe you're not looking at them through a telescope. Maybe you're not pulling up to their front door all the time like Karen, but you creep on their social media. You always want to know the lowdown of what's going on with them and their new boo from your friends and whatnot. So I will say, as annoying and over the top and repetitive as a lot of these storylines are, I will have to say there is an over-exaggeration in the antics that these characters do, but I do feel like they're based on common things we all do or have done in the past involving like social media and whatnot. So, I will give props to the scene for that. Okay, so let's backtrack just a little. Fatima's at her place getting her overnight bag together, and Andy calls about the whole situation of Hayden, looking into some stuff at the airport, and hey, tell me if Zach did anything illegal. And look, I'll tell Zach to call you and talk about it. So love how Zatima ain't giving up Zach because she knows about the insider trading. This fool even goes on to say it ain't illegal until you get caught. I love Zatima. All right, so and also during this time, that's when Andy gets another call about Gary getting buzzed up, but we already talked about that. Okay, so let's round out the episode here, folks. Jake comes over for the check, and it's funny because, wait, you said you're relaxing with your girl, but you wearing a suit and tie when you're relaxing, man? Come on. Hey, you mess around, I make you my interior designer, because he likes the layout of Zach's new place. And he's like, look, I know you think I'm suspicious and whatnot. I'm doing all this nice stuff, but that's because when we first met up, I felt like a bond between us, like brothers. And in the character description, he is mentioned to be possibly bisexual, so he's seemingly attracted to Zach, but that's something that's probably going to be covered in Zatima. I don't know. But regardless, let's bench that and just talk about the bromance here, which I feel cool about, because, like, you know, Fatima was telling Zach, well, it is good for you to have a nice guy, like a nice, you know, friend, something like that. But in any case, he does mention the fact that, you know, hey, Fatima might be right about selling the stock. You know, it's a good idea. It might still go up, but if you want to get these people off your back, you need to sell and invest in other, you know, stocks, like give me $1 million. And then I love the running gag of the scene where Zach goes, see, you went from brother to cousin, and now you went from cousin to like acquaintance. We're not even family no more. And again, this episode was this was straight up Zatima. This was a Zatima episode, but sister stuff kept getting in the way. But in any case, he mentions, look, you know, if you don't want it to be Gary affiliated, give me the $1 million. I'll work on some stuff that I do. Matter of fact, I'll just email you some stuff. You can look over it, and then we'll talk from there. And he says, well, what happens if your company goes belly up? I lose my money. Yeah, that's a possibility. So how's that any different than what I'm doing right now? Yet again, it's to get the FCC off your ass. So from there, he does mention, look, you might be right not to trust Gary, you know, because I've been finding out some stuff. I've been watching him. Money related? No, when it comes to money and whatnot, Gary is legit. He's doing what he's doing, but there's just some stuff that I can't tell you about. So then he bounces. All right, then the final scene, Zach gets a call from Tony about meeting at the hotel. And then the episode ends. So, yeah, like I said, this would be like a 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for the sister stuff getting in the way. But overall, kind of like last week, this is a good episode. You know, yeah. I know the score might seem low, but it was good. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.